What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video today. This one is going to be a commentary. I've been thinking about making this for quite some time because I have some thoughts on it. And I think a lot of people have some very strong opinions about this topic, but I wanted to make a commentary today about what I think they should change in the upcoming Season 7 or just to the game in general to help it get back to a point where I think a lot more people are thinking positively about all the changes that they're implementing and also just happy with all of the different items that are in the game. I'm going to be focusing on the items in the game and talking about how the addition of new items very frequently, like they have been doing for quite some time now, is actually gotten to the point where it's no longer, in my opinion, a good thing. Now, to kind of get you in my mindset of thinking about this, we have to go back to, we'll say Season 2, Season 3 area. I think that's when most people would say that this game was at its peak. In terms of how fun the game was, personally for me, that was when I just could not stay off the game. Now, keep in mind, this is not to say that all these recent updates are not also positive. There's a lot of things since Season 2 and 3 that they put in that are absolutely incredible and have helped the game tremendously. But I'm talking about specific items and the addition of items on an update basis. The reason I think that Fortnite has become too saturated is you can look at multiple aspects of the game, but we'll start with chests. In Season 2, there wasn't a whole lot you could get from the chest, which means that you're going to get a gun that you can use off the start. So if you're diving for a chest and there's people all around you and you hit that chest, the chance of you getting an AR is extremely high. Now you have to think about all the stuff you can get out of chests these days. Not to mention the fact that you will probably most likely get a good healing item you can use, if not shield. Now you have to think of nowadays where you can get all sorts of things out of chests. You can get shotguns, ARs, submachine guns, deagles, various snipers, and then you look at the healing item that can be dropped out of the chest and you realize that it's no longer healing and frag grenades. It can be all sorts of grenades now, which completely negate ever receiving healing. I can't tell you how many times recently I've been searching chests and only getting grenades, stickies, dynamite, all the other equipment based ones that aren't grenades. And then obviously frags as well, which were completely replaced the healing. And that's precisely what I'm talking about in terms of this game being oversaturated. There is too many items in the game to the point where you can't find the item that you need in that moment. Sure, Season 1, 2, and 3 were actually still pretty basic and there wasn't a ton in the game. And as I said earlier, there were many additions that definitely helped the game in terms of putting content in the game that is fun, that makes sense, and that changes the game in a positive way. But when you're adding so many items on a almost weekly basis, it becomes so diluted in terms of finding the items that you need in specific situations, it's almost impossible. Sometimes it's downright hard to find an AR. I think we've gotten to a point where Epic really needs to start thinking about the items that they're putting in the game and not thinking about getting a new item in the game just to do it, to give more content. I think it's important to really think about, is this an item that will be healthy for the game? Do we need another of this item? Do we need another AR? I don't think so. Do we need more submachine guns? Certainly not. Explosives? We have never needed more explosives in my opinion, yet we continually get them. Equipment related items such as traps and launch pads and stuff like that I think are great because truthfully those don't really affect a lot of the drop rates as much as the things that you can find through a chest. So in terms of a solution to this problem, like I just said, slow down on putting new things into the game. Just actually think about them long term. Do we need it? People and developers get stuck in this mindset where they think the more stuff we throw into a game, the better, and that will always be true. It's not always true. You do get to a point of saturation where it no longer becomes a positive thing when you're just continually pumping new things into the game. Especially if you're not taking out old things, because then you just have so many items in the game that people are not able to even utilize a quarter of them, which is currently what's going on. And B being, I think it's time to vault some things. I know that they occasionally will vault things that the player base, for the most part, does not like and thinks is a very bad thing to have in the game, but I think there's a couple more things currently in the game that really should be vaulted. I actually don't think it's in a terrible spot now after the shotgun update. We have a pretty good spread between shotguns, submachine guns, and ARs. There's a lot of options there in terms of what you want, and they're not all that difficult to find. I think what we really have to look at is the equipment, healing, and explosives. I think those are the three things that are really kind of getting out of hand. I don't think we ever have needed more than just frag grenades in this game. Sure, stickies are cool, but we used to have C4. Thank God they vaulted that. We have frag grenades, we have stickies, we have now dynamite, which no one asked for and no one wants in the game, I don't think. I don't know why. I hope that they vault that. I think that's a good step. But we have things like the grappler, which I think is also not a good thing to have in the game. I think that should be removed. It was cool for a while, but it's gotten to the point where they're just obnoxious. In terms of healing, we have a bunch of healing options. If you look back at Season 2, we had pretty much nothing. It was just big shields, bandages, and medkits. That was Season 1. I'm not actually sure when they introduced the minis and the slurp and the chug. I'm not sure when all of that was introduced, campfires as well. But I think actually healing is in a good spot. If there wasn't so many grenades, you would get a lot more healing when you needed it, which I think would be a good thing. So I don't think that there is another healing item that they need, especially because they added apples and mushrooms for little bits of shield and health. I think healing wise in the game currently is actually a very good point. So I hope that they kind of remain with the current items. I'm not sure what another item would be or how it would affect the game, but I'm not opposed to them trying to add something. I don't think that's really the problem area, although there's a ton of healing and oftentimes you're not able to even carry half of the stuff you find sometimes after wiping out a squad, or even in solos. Everyone has a different type of healing, so it's even hard there to decide what you want. And this is probably a little bit controversial, but the last thing that I think they could adjust is explosives. I'm talking grenade launchers, quad launchers, and rocket launchers. These three things, to me, it's very strange that you can still get them off the very first chest in the game. I don't know how many times I have been killed by a rocket off the start just because they were lucky enough to pull that chance and just rocket me point blank. You don't have mats in the beginning. There's nothing you can do to really defend it. You have to play natural cover a lot of the times. In terms of houses, they can just shoot a rocket through the window. It's really weird that you can still get those out of chests. What I think they should do to help some of the other drop rates and just kind of fix this problem is they should remove rockets from chests and only have them available through something like a supply drop. Personally, I think that would vastly help the flow of the game, because that way people that are hitting supply drops towards the second half of the game, that's when the game's at a point where if you're getting bombarded by rockets, you should have enough mats to counter them at that point. So I don't think they're really all that unfair at that stage in the game. Plus, it just makes more sense that you get such a power weapon out of a supply drop like that. I don't think many people would argue this, but those three weapons are not very difficult to use. I think we can all agree on that. They're very spammy and very easy to get knocks and even hits with those. And I think that's fine, again, if you're acquiring those later in the game and people are allowing you to get these supply drops, not contesting you for them, and you're able to get a couple of those between your squad or whatever, and then just pummel the other people that are going up against you. You spent the time to get the supply drop, and the people that you're going up against should theoretically be able to defend you because they should have mats at that stage of the game. I don't know. There's something I've been thinking about for quite a while now about the whole rocket thing in particular. It just feels wrong. It's always felt wrong. When you go to fight a guy off the rip, you're just assuming that he's got, a basic loadout, maybe a shotgun and AR and maybe even a sub. You're like, okay, we probably both have shield. And then he just hits you with a rocket within 30 seconds of you landing. That's just never felt right at all. There's a million other things apart from items in the game that I think they could change to improve the game. But I think items is a really good way to start. One thing that is not in the item category that I'll briefly mention is that I think they should probably mess with the material gain rate and the cap on materials. They've been doing it in the pop-up cups where they limit it to 500 of each resource. I think 500's a little low for just public play, so I think maybe they should do something in between 1,000 and the 500, maybe say 700, so you lower it by 300 in each style of building material, but you increase the rate of harvest by the same amount you decrease. So if you're decreasing by, say, 30%, you would increase the harvest rate by 30%. So therefore, people are spending less time harvesting, more time fighting, less time spam building because they have less materials, which will also lead to more fighting and a faster feeling game, in my opinion. I think they should experiment around with stuff like that. I know they have in the past, but it's only ever been nerfs. Another thing that the pop-up cups have done great, and I've heard super positive things out of so many different people about this, is the health back on elimination. I think that is incredibly cool, and it would really help with a lot of third parties. I do not think it should be 50 personally. I think it should be 50 in the pop-up cups, but in terms of regular play, I don't think it should be 50. Maybe 25, I think, per elimination. Honestly, sometimes that's all you need to take out a third partier. It would heal your health first, obviously, and then give you shield after that. I think that would be something super cool if they put that into the game. Hopefully they're thinking about that in Season 7. I mean, I'm excited for Season 7, and I think actually, like I said earlier, Fortnite is in a pretty good spot right now, especially after the shotgun update. Shotguns feel very viable now. Things are starting to balance out. The meta is annoying at times because it's very spam oriented, whether you're on offense with a submachine gun or on defense just turbo building. That's kind of the only frustration I've been having recently. But other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section about this. I'm very interested to see if you guys agree with me, disagree with me. Please feel free to either agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Just leave some constructive commentary about the way you feel, and I'll be happy to read it and respond to it. As always, drop a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're brand new. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
I think you'll get there first. Or at the same time.
Fire your laser.
Haven't peeked that. Up top.
What?
One hit, one hit.
Kevin up to your right. Nice. Nice job. Just finish him.
Below me. Yeah, finish him off.
Yep.
He's below me somewhere healing.
Down to your left, Kevin.
Oh my god!
Nice job. Okay.
Oh wow, you auto revive at the end of the game. That's neato.
Yeah, I feel like you can participate afterwards. It's nice.
I don't get a revive.
Why? It's because you died, Jack.